asking for before they'll issue insurance.
What are the cost of the insurance?
For an insurance inspection, usually 200.
Sorry, for inspection.
Single family starts at 450, condos start at 400. Insurance, insurance will be 200 to 250 depending on the size of the property.
And the reason I'm asking because if you guys get a feeling that there's gonna be issues with insurance, it's a good investment for the homeowner to do an inspection to understand what the gaps are. $4,000 or $500, but then they're gonna save a lot of time and money and grief later on if there's gonna be an issue. Not for any home, but if we suspect there's gonna be issue and maybe the seller don't really wanna play along, so the pro can tell them exactly what they might be looking at.
Exactly. There's times where Nick has come in and just straight up said with this brand of electrical panel, and it would be a good idea to consider replacement while you're in your contingency period. He's very tactful, so I know that's another big issue. You guys never want somebody who's coming in, busting down the door and say, yikes. You want somebody who's addressing it with tact, and also delivering the information in a way that feels good to the client and isn't scaring them. And Nick does exactly that.
Because he got his face, by the way, so it's hard not to
Yes.
So smiling.
Yeah.
What about chimneys?
We do chimneys. They're going to start at $375, and it will be a level 2 inspection with the camera in the flue. Level 1 is included with the inspections. Is there anybody who wants to drop their business card in quick?
For a giveaway? Are we doing a giveaway?
Yeah, I got a $3 jar in here to Panera. I remember.
Remove the contingency, I wouldn't remove the insurability.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody wants to share it?
All right, here we go. We got a drawing.
Yeah.
Brendan Schmidt is.
Yeah. It's because this business card is 6'9" It's taller than everyone else's business card. All right, let's fix all this. All right, awesome. Well, hey, I'm really excited about today. A lot of us went over to Atlanta, Georgia, a couple months ago. Gary Keller and staff and leadership at KW went over the vision speech, which is going to be a lot of information. We're lucky to have Meny over here. He was there paying attention, taking notes. He's going to share a lot of this stuff with us. So take out your notes, you can take out your cameras, but we'll also send it out to you guys as well.
And we're both gonna be up here because
we'll email it to you guys.
We're gonna have some stuff to throw in while I go over it. They call it the vision speech. There's a small portion of the vision, which is pretty much like trying to predict what's gonna happen this year. And you're gonna see throughout the slides that they're pretty much always nailed it. Now they're not gonna. There's no like crazy secrets like where you door knock, that specific address, but it's just overall the trend where the market is going, and you'll see that it's only getting better post pandemic, right? In that sense. Any questions, any comments, just jump in and you can ask questions. You guys will send the slides after.
Yeah, we'll email it to everybody. We'll blast out all these slides.
Yeah, you can take some pictures while we talk, or just wait later on for those numbers. Home sales. This is annual recap and projection, so it shows you like in millions how many homes. As you can see, they're projecting this year to end with 4.3 million homes sold, which, as you can see, the last few years since 23. It's going to be an increase. So we are going to see more inventory closing this year. We're already feeling it since January, February of this year. And that's pretty much the trend. We're going to dive deeper into that in a few minutes in different aspects to understand like what's also affecting that. But that's definitely a better place to be rather than the last few years that have been a little bit steady, but too slow to some extent. This is a great slide that you always want to keep it in your picture album in your phone when you want to show it to someone, share it, and talk about it.
Listing presentations too. Yeah.
All day long. That's the home prices, the annual overall prices. That shows you just the overall if you're like, I go by the blue line, which is called the long term trend, the trend line, right? And it shows what? It shows what? The trend line shows what? Indicates what?
When it's a upward trajectory.
Right, the appreciation of the home value, right? And ideally, the trend line is gonna be what? Every year? 4%. Okay? And you're gonna see like, in the nineties, it was very, very steady growth every year, about 4%. This is, again, median price, this is national, so it's not like a specific, street or neighborhood, etc. But they projecting this year to end with 7.4%. Is this more than the trend line? It is. So it means that is it a good thing to invest in real estate? Absolutely yes. Right? And if you're gonna do a comparison to, again, an average, any kind of index funds or what have you, they're gonna be at 5-6% solid ones. So this one still beats, right? Other great vehicles. Not talking about high risk like digital currencies and businesses, etc. Just about whatever is long term and steady. Clearly, we can see that there are some years post crash. Took some time, almost 10 years or so to kind of grow that back to the trend line, the average one, when it comes to how this industry behaves. But over time, there's no mistake over here. Real estate is always the best vehicle to build wealth, right? So again, positive news about where this investment vehicle is going to, right? So the best time to buy was yesterday's.
Second best time
Is today.
today.
This just shows you the annual appreciation broken down by years, so you can again understand the trend line, and also like years of different events. Post crash market, the big market crash over here, years in between, pandemic years, very hopefully once in a lifetime, right? And then this is where we're at right now. Clearly, it's not as fast as we want to see it, but we definitely going to get there. This is also a historical breakdown, so you can see by different events. Interesting to understand history, right? Because it sometimes tends to repeat itself in our lifetime or overall. So definitely understand that, and if you really want to, geek out, just go in and do more research. What happened, and you're going to be surprised. Most of the things it's like happening yesterday, and just repeating in different shapes and forms, right? This one shows you the total market volume, right? In trillions, and this is probably my favorite slide because at least since again 2023, what happened post pandemic? This is again very unusual. What happened? They said that 23 is going to be the third best in real estate. You see that? The best one was 21, then 22, and then in 24 they said 24 is going to be the third best in real estate. You see that? And then last in 25 they said it's going to be the third best in real estate. And this year they're going to say it's going to be what? The third best in real estate. So very consistent with the third best. We'll take third best because it beats historically all the rest. Again, disregard for a second those pandemic years for a minute. Okay, so we're definitely heading, or we are in a better year than last year.
But it's also good to compare the agent count. Look at how many agents are here, and look at where we are now with agents and volume projected.
And that's my next sentence.
Yeah.
That thank you for that. 20 years. Look at this. 06, 26, 20 years. Almost the same amount of agents. See that? So there's a lot of fallout in between. It means that you that have been doing this for 20 plus years, still here, you're probably you're probably doing pretty well. Okay, you're consistent with what you're able to produce or predict if you're doing this full time still, right? Whoever's out there, here and out there. And yes, there's a lot of change. And last year we saw I forgot the number, but just massive drop of licensees. A lot of people just didn't renew their licenses, let it expire, etc. And also the drop in the overall new applicants
Yeah.
for real estate. It just means that this is the best time to go into real estate. And clearly just to double down on what we do to generate more business. Okay, that's really what it means. Inventory, the good news is that we are seeing increase since last year. There's still no numbers for this year clearly, but it's probably gonna keep increasing as well this year. We're still in a place where it's not the ideal months of inventory. What's the perfect number? How many months of inventory? 6, right? We'll take 5, right, to have like a more healthier market, and we see it in some areas. So last year we ended with about 4.2, let's say 4 months. Not bad. You compare again, look at pandemic years in the 2s. Still exists in some market shares, right? But if you have the 5 months, 6 months is optimal. It's a really healthy market. Okay, so when you do research on an area, where should I farm, for example, or you have a buyer looking for a place, etc. This is one of the indicators you wanna understand. Mortgage rates, pretty sure Dustin's gonna talk about it later on, but we're in a sweet spot. Okay, 5s is where we wanna see it, right? Clearly, whoever got lucky in the 2020, 21 mostly was what the 2s, what I'm gonna see the second, afterwards the breakdown. Once in a lifetime, I think, once in a lifetime, I hope. Money was slightly more expensive the last couple of years. Again, it's a bit better today, but go back to the 80s. People bought homes with 16, 17, 18% interest rates.
And agents sold homes.
That too, right? We'll talk about the affordability in a minute. It was way less affordable back then to buy a house with 16, 17% interest. So again, we're in a better place today than before, relatively. So affordability, I just mentioned that. Let me just see one slide for a second. There it is. Back as I mentioned to the 80s, you will see that you needed about 49 or half of your household income, whatever you make, as an income, to be able to afford the house. Okay, that's back there, 16, 17% interest rate. Today we are, call it like 5, 7, 5, 9% average, what have you. Only 30%, third of the household income will go to real estate. So you have way more money left in your pocket to do other stuff. Make sense? So, and again, the blue line shows you the historical average from the 70s until recent years, which is about 27%. So we're not far off from the historical average since the 70s, right? That's about 50 years or so of data. 32% is great. So if people sometimes ask, I don't know if I can afford it. So you need to ask, like, how do you know? Or even go deeper, like, do you know what it means? Right? If not, one phone call away, right? Dustin's there and he's going to help you to understand income, debt ratio, etc., and if they're able to afford. It's also, by the way, going to a very, very common consumer behavior. How many of you ever said about anything, I'm not sure if I can afford it?
Right.
Well, how do you know? And if you do know, let's say it's today's reality, okay, what does it mean for me to be able to afford it? And then I can reverse engineer the path together. If it's a house, if it's a phone, if it's a car, if it's a clothes, if it's education, vacation.
Gas for the week.
Gas for the week. Yeah, that's what drive electric.
I said smart.
Right? How can I afford electric car? But that's really what it is. So it's just a consumer behavior. So we need to understand this is the key, because most people will say, I don't know if I can afford it. And most people will be, we'll talk about, I think that was possibly a slide about Gen Z, etc., right? Gen X, Z, etc. A lot of people just, even don't know what to ask or embarrassed to ask or to say what it is. It's our job to educate them. right?
You guys remember that from when I stand up there, I have a slide about affordability, and people automatically make the assumption that if the mortgage payment is higher than the rental payment, then they can't afford it.
Right, which is not a mistake, but look, most people in the world are ignorant about financials, basic ones, because if you understand the math, and again, set up time to people who does that, I can show to you or with your clients, if you take into consideration the tax benefits, other expenses, etc., it's way cheaper to own a home rather than to rent, right? Now comes the responsibility, other stuff, 100%, but there's building wealth and there's building wealth for others, right? So pick a side and see where you want to be. Let's go over the US economy numbers.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, please.
Does KW, do they collect any data on seller financing?
Say again?
Seller financing? Is there any data like on seller financing?
In what way? So financing.
Seller financing for, as an option for the mortgage. So seller backed financing. I'm only asking that question because obviously, no offense to the mortgage brokers out there, but I'm looking at where the rates are today. Obviously, like in the early 2020s, you could have gotten a $2 million home at, $6,000 rate. Obviously, that's not the case today. So I'm just wondering, given that we're looking at national data, specifically in a metro market like LA, if there's availability of information on seller financing, of how to like carry that conversation with the owners here, because that would be like obviously very beneficial because our market's much more expensive.
What, so 100%. I don't know if they have, so first of all this information that you see
Yeah.
is all from KW research division. Like they have a whole division, they have a very smart guy, very sharp guy, he's always on stage, showing this data. And they get the resources, number one, from KW as a company. It's still the biggest company transaction-wise in the nation, but also from different resources. That specific, I never saw any information. I do know that you can, see from time to time that seller financing is something that is optional.
Yeah.
It's pretty much per deal. It's just a question of like how creative you want to be under the circumstances, but it's not even about the seller, it's mostly about the buyer.
Yeah.
You know?
I guess the best would be like.
I don't know if you want to answer that, to chime in for a second, if you have anything to add.
Yeah, I think that you're not going to find sellers that are willing to do seller carryback financing because most of Americans' wealth is in the equity of their homes. And sellers of homes are looking to take their equity to then do other moves with it.
Right. But I mean, here specifically in like South Bay, you have homes that are selling for like, 4 or 5 million. Those people are like typically generational owners, and they probably do have a lot of equity built up, and you could present that to an option. So I guess, because I know this is private information, because if it's seller financing, it's not going to be in the books anywhere. So my question to the room would be, has anyone dealt with seller financing?
Yeah, I carried the loan on my house.
Yeah.
I carried the loan for the guy because he couldn't qualify,
Yeah,
and carried the loan at an interest of 7%.
okay.
And then called you and pay a balloon payment after a year.
Oh, higher than the market
Yeah.
rate.
No, the rate was 7%.
Oh, okay.
You can, but you can,
I mean,
decide.
say 8%.
Yeah.
they're not
You
gonna-
can decide, John.
Yeah, I think it's more common in investment real estate than in people's primary residences. People typically need like equity out, like you said, from their primary.
Right.
Because oftentimes people have investment real estate that they own for decades and they have big capital gains tax burdens. So a way that they can shield that is to do, owner carrybacks and all.
Yeah, we can talk more later
Okay,
on.
sure,
because
sorry about
it's-
that, yeah.
No, it's
Yeah.
a great question. Maybe other people have that in their mind, or maybe, again, it's always good to
Yeah.
bring things up.
More people right now have a 6% interest rate than they do have a 3% interest rate.
Yeah.
And if you have the posture about affordability issues, then you're almost sounding like a buyer. Really, it's just about their specific situation, whether or not they can afford a payment. They get approved for it, they see themselves in the house the next 3 years. So,
GDP stands for. GDP stands for.
Gross product.
Thank you. Which means what? In the simplest way to explain it.
Total goods and services.
How much we spend? Okay, look, basically spending. Okay, in a very, again, just the easiest way to understand. What's the percentage, right, that they want to see in the healthiest economy? 2%. Okay, 2% GDP. We're not in a bad spot, right? It was slightly higher, post-pandemic. And we're right now with that specific area, right? Where is this going? We're not sure yet, because there's other factors I'm gonna discuss in a second. But last year ended with 2.2, which is it's a good place to be at, right? So again, that's the gross domestic product. Unemployment, that's one of the key indicators that they're looking at, and we're gonna mention there's a new slide afterwards that they added, interesting one. Definitely one thing to look at, we know what happened, since last year, a lot of layoffs, different, industries, etc. We're gonna show that as well. But that's one thing that they're, again, trying to figure out how to change that, in various ways. What is the sweet number, the perfect number for unemployment? 2%. Nah, it's way more than that. That's actually a very concerning, economy if it's only 2%. 5%,
That's what I thought.
okay?
I didn't want-
5%. So last year then with 4.2, that's not a bad place to be at, economy wise, right? What happens if there's 0% unemployment? What does it mean?
It means rates are gonna shoot straight up.
But what does it mean like economy wise?
It means the economy is super hot.
But it also means that there are not enough jobs. Right? The economy doesn't grow as fast as the demand. It just doesn't make any sense, right? So again, that's just part of the formula. Last year, as of December, 3 months ago, end of the year with 7.5 million unemployed people, while they had about 6.5 million job opening. That's the percentage that they mentioned. Look what happened during pandemic. 21 million people unemployed, right? Happened in months. So just as a comparison. So just to show you the history of that. So this is interesting. Another new slide that they shared, job growth. So it shows you different sectors, and the purple boxes shows you based on 10 years average where it should have been. Okay, healthcare should have been at 482,000 additional jobs, but the change was almost double. Okay, the health industry is booming. It's a good thing, but that's the reality. Okay, so one of the hottest markets post-pandemic, that's for sure. That's health. Leisure, hospitality should have grown to 119,000. 190,000, only grew to 119. Other services, whatever that means, almost break even, 50,000. Financial activities was supposed to be at 11,000, only grew to 36, and the rest. Look at what dropped. Information, manufacturing, professional and business services, that's like businesses like us and many other small businesses. Government, we know about that, trade, etc. Big drop over there. And those are some of the factors that did influencing unemployment. So that's actually again the main big industries. Wealth and income. So what you're going to see over here, they're showing the yellow line is the top 1% of wealthy people in the nation, and then the blue one is the bottom 50%. And this one specifically shows the wealth growth by income level. Okay, let me see the next slide for a second. Okay, you see the gap. Why do you think? What's the, based on what they mentioned? What do you think caused this big gap mainly? What factor between the wealthiest to the rest? What part of their real estate? Okay, the appreciation, residential and commercial as well, right? Combination of both. But just by, it's not necessarily just by having more cash or what have you. It's mostly real estate that creates this massive gap between those percentages and that part. And there's a gap between 492, 7, but it's pretty much the same area ish.
So you're saying 1,076 for real estate? that what that's saying?
It shows the overall growth.
Okay, so one of the reasons for that, just to share with the room, is because when you're buying a house, you're using the leverage of the bank. So on appreciation of your $100,000 down payment, it's not just 4% on 100,000, it's 4% on $1 million. So it gives you a lot of upside.
Yeah. So again, if you just know the game of the money and leverage, so you're in a different place. It helps when you have money to do that, but anybody can start with something else.
And I'd be showing this to renters. That I'd be showing this to people that are still renting that think that, well, I don't know if buying. I mean, there's content out there. People saying, oh, maybe buying a home isn't the best thing. You should just rent. This is a good slide to show those.
Right.
I agree. Inflation. In a perfect market, inflation should be aware. Exactly where it is right now, 2%. Yeah, 2%. So we're in a good place. Are we heading to a really good place? Okay, based on the stats, not projections. And that's both the CPI and core CPI heading there. So we're gonna see where that's gonna lead us. There are other factors we're gonna talk about them in a second. One thing that they mentioned, again, new slide, because everybody like to point out fingers to one person, right? The chair of the Fed. It's one person, and he's not the decision maker. He's the clerk that come and tell you what has been decided by who? By this group. So there's a whole committee, right, that votes on any changes. What changes? We'll see in the next slide. The rates, not the mortgage rates, but the Fed rates, right? The basic rates that affect the mortgage rates. We'll get in a second. And this committee is basically consisted of people that appointed for 14 years by the government, pretty much. So if I had to guess, I don't really know, but if I had to guess, it's people that have been there for quite some time still. And then the other part, the minority of the board, chosen by a local board, right? So that's why sometimes you're going to see there is like how come government, any type of, right, throughout the years asking for one thing and they're not doing it. It's the federal, or well, it's not. It's a whole different entity, right? And then so the decision makers doesn't really necessarily will go with one side or another, right? So worth knowing, because we don't understand what's behind the scenes. So this is a bit more complicated than what it seems, right? And we know right now there's a little bit of pushback as well, so that's going to be interesting to see how that's going to develop. Fed policy, mortgage rates. So you can see the blue line. That's the bottom rate. That's the base rate, the Fed rate. And go back to pandemic 2021. Remember what happened over there, right? Amazing rates. Then you can see what's the number, 2.5.
Yeah, so the spread is about 2 to 2.5. So the Fed rate is the amount of money that the bank pays for borrowing money overnight. And then the spread, which you're mentioning, is 2.5.
Yeah, so that's what you can tell, by the way, like if you know what the Fed rate add 2 to 2.5, right? So by the way, if you're going to get a quote and it's like it's like 3-4% more, but even more if it's a hard money loan, there's something off, or maybe very specific type of a loan. I'm just generalizing, basically. But that's where it rides on top of the Fed rates. Okay, so again, right now trying to lower it. We're in a decent place right now. Clearly, if it's gonna stay in the 5s, sweet spot. Okay, money's still very affordable. Yeah.
How's that spread determined? Is that like a bank by bank thing, or is that?
That's thing to decide.
It depends on market drift. So meaning, like when the rates are going up, then the spread is going greater because they know that the person's going to refinance soon, right? So I can give you a 7% interest rate, but I know that I'm forecasting in 24 months from now that rates are going to come down to 5. I got to make more money because it costs me money to lend that, right? So they know that person's going to refinance at that 30 mortgage. When rates have to start with a 5, the margin gets compressed. Now it's 1.75 to 1.9.
Yeah.
Because the odds of some refinancing on a 5 much greater.
Yeah. Good question. So that's another, again, great graph to understand, behind the scenes of that. I mentioned, economy risks in 26, they're looking out for, there's the talks about the tariff still, pushed back by the Supreme Court. There was a way around it, let's do taxes rather than tariffs. So I'm not sure whether that's gonna go. If you understand tariffs, it's a very, very tiny percentage of what really comes into this country. It's mostly by income taxes still, so it's not really anything that can make much of a difference, right? Again, we have to seek to understand between all the news and the whole what have you. We spoke about the unemployment. That's definitely one thing that they have to figure out how to boost. They can to create way more jobs than what we have currently available. Last year growth was very, 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 very minimal historically. It's offset by unemployment, by people that have been laid off clearly, but that's one thing that they have to look out for. This is newer and interesting. The AI market correction. There's way more money right now being invested in AI than ever been in the internet all those years. Think about it. It's like big numbers with a lot of B's in it, and we see more and more of the big companies, organizations, enterprises buying everybody or buying into it, right? How that's going to mature, how that's going to affect different things, it's still too early to tell. But definitely AI is going to be a major key player in the economy in some shape and form. Inflation, as I mentioned, it's definitely heading to a sweet spot. There's some other stuff they have to look out for. But again, those are really not as significant. And there's some things happening in the Middle East, right? Not just, but mostly there, and affecting cost of the oil barrels, etc., and hence gas and other parts. But it's still too soon to understand exactly where that's gonna go. As I mentioned, the yellow spots tariffs. So back early days of this country, that was pretty much the main or almost only income. Today, it's a very, very small number, as you can see. So it's very insignificant in that level. Our industry, numbers in our industry, sites per agent. The projection that we're going to see more sites per agent, right? Meaning you're destined, if you are doing this full time and you're doing day in day out, you're destined to do better this year than last year, right? So it's good news for some of you. If you're newer or didn't have the best year last year, double down. You're almost guaranteed to do more business. Okay, less agents, more units. So that's that, and less agents, as we mentioned. Volume per agent is going to increase as a result. Clearly, this is national. So here you can sell a couple of homes, or one home, and you're going to pass that number. But that's again the national average in millions. So 3 million. That's the national average volume per agent. But it's nice to see where the national is and where you are, right? Listing with price drop. We definitely saw there's drop in the price drops overall. Luxury listings are moving faster, right? Not 60, 90 days of market anymore in some areas. But this is good because it means that two things: either sellers are catching up and they're listening to their agents, or agents are setting a different tone and say there's a selling price, but there's a listing price or a marketing price. Those are different, it can be different, but let's be more aggressive as in ahead of the market. That's why we still see multiple offers today, right? It's not the highest market in that sense per units, but there's some inventory. But that's one thing that is, I think it's a good thing to look at. Credit condition, go back to lenders. There's a slight loosening since last quarter of 2025, which is a good thing, meaning they want people to borrow. So they're making the conditions slightly better or easier. It's all relative, clearly, right? How's it going to look this year? I'm not sure. Not sure if anything is changing, but looks like it's kind of steady, right? Yeah, small stuff here and there, but that's good, because we want people to borrow money and buy real estate, right? New homes, you can see that the long-term average, 20 years or so, is about 1 million homes a year. We're slightly under, but still it's a very healthy place. This is not what it was, post-crash, right? Half of the amount, clearly. So this is very decent. It's slightly less than what we see, but it's all around us, right? How do you call this new development over here? We're just building and selling. They have like 6, 7 open houses.
Yeah,
open houses.
right.
Yeah, so it's all around us. And I encourage you, even if it's not in your close proximity, like 2, 3, 5 mile radius, wherever it is, go and get curious and gather information. And if you have a buyer who's interested, sign him up, put your name over there. Because you can never know what's going to happen. And if they are buying new homes not new home that was built, or a flip, new homes as a new home builder, then they'll take over. They're going to close the deal. You guys didn't really do much. You're going to get paid either a 3% or a flat fee, which is very generous as well. So it's a good deal all day,
I
right?
just raised it to 3.5%.
3.5%. Okay, and the average price, that's 700 for these
It
units?
starts at 7, it goes
Starts
up.
at 7.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great deal.
What are we doing here right now?
So let's go, yeah. Student loan debt, as you can see, the blue is student loans. That was somewhat steady in a sense of like the amount, 1.6 trillion, went slightly higher last year, 1.7 trillion, and the rest is the other consumer debt. Not mortgage though, so other credit cards or what have you, car, what have you, different types of debts. So the last few years we've been, the highest ever recorded. And that's where we're at right now. Home insurance, she mentioned earlier something about home insurance companies asking to do some inspections. She nailed it. You see more. It's more like health and safety concerns. That's what they're going to flag it, because cost of insurance went up, and a lot of companies in 24 and then into 25 left California, right? Insurance companies slowly they're moving back in. By the way, right? Or let's say State Farm, I believe they stopped insuring. I think it was invested properties. Now they do. So they're loosening slowly. So they have to kind of catch up and see what they're up to. But it was a big impact in 24 into 25, loosening a little bit. Definitely more very expensive still, but it's not killing deals as it used to be for that 6 months period of time. You saw a lot of title, always shared information and escrow, etc. Hopefully that's going to keep decreasing. It's with time, and hopefully more competition will come in. We'll see. It's out of our control, but we have to be ahead of it when we're working with buyer seller. Generational wealth transfer. This is really important to understand, because most of the wealth in the US today still is being held by or owned by baby boomers. Okay, 85 trillion. Out of that is 19 trillion in real estate, and very soon, God bless them, in the next 20 to 50 years. Okay, it's going to transfer over.
It's called the silver tsunami.
The silver tsunami, right?
Why is that tsunami? You guys know how many zeros are in $1 trillion?
Right.
What?
You know how many zeros are in $1 trillion?
How many zeros?
A lot.
You spoke that really
How,
fast.
how many zeros are in $1 trillion?
I don't know.
$1 trillion.
Hold on.
It's 12. If you had $1 trillion and you spent $1 million a day, you would have had to have started spending, and you ran out of money today, you would have had to have started spending money in 700 BC before Christ was born.
With the increase of
Yeah. So and you would run out of money today. So that's like a lot. The reason why I'm saying that is tsunami. It's a lot. It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money, but all this money, all this wealth, all this real estate is going to transfer down to us. I'm not saying as owners, all of us will, but as the people that will broker the deal. Now, the broker the deal, there are two ways to go about it. Number one, as a broker in real estate, because they're gonna sell it or what have you, or they're gonna inherit it, but I don't wanna keep it, sell it, or as a consultant. So more today, more than any time before, they need us. Now, not necessarily the baby boomers, but also their families. They don't know about maybe wills, trusts, etc. We need to be there for them and advise them, right? Otherwise, it's gonna go to complicated places, probate, etc. Fantastic time to tap into this industry. 100%, yeah. Last few stats, those are key factors too. 6 minutes and I'm done. First time home buyers. As you can see, there's a slight drop in that number, 21%, as of last year. Primary reasons for purchasing a home, as of last year, 21%. There's a drop in the desire to buy a home. Right now, it can be various reasons. It doesn't name the reasons. It's just a desirable desire. But that's where our job is to educate possibly the younger generation, right, about the affordability plans, etc. The path to get there. I think it's part of the reason, right? And the second highest is desire to be closer to friends and family. First of the buying process. 46% looking online, 20% reaching an agent. So if the agent is encouraging your client to go online and everything you see, send it to me so I can take a look at and analyze it. And also I have access to information that is not public information, which is true, that's the agent remarks, then you're going to be in the 66% bracket that they're going to go to you. So encourage your clients to go online, 100%, they'll do it anyways, right? Information sources the buyer use, 85%. Still go to us to ask the questions. We'll get from us the information, and then the rest is just viral, online, etc. So everything works, but the majority still come and use us agents. Web buyers found home online, clearly as you can see, and then 27% agent. Combine the two, right? So you want to have online presence today more than before. Just a breakdown of value of website. If you promote, your listing, your property, it shows you what's the most valuable thing over here in the scheme. Method of home purchase, 88% agent or broker. Throughout the year, it's pretty consistent, but it's kind of repeating itself, right? In that sense, agents are going nowhere. This is key. There's one for buyers and one for sellers. A couple of them. What I would do, take a picture of that. Right, and when you creating some kind of maybe an ad, Facebook ad, Instagram ad, what have you, doing some kind of solicitation or what have you, make sure that the top 3 at least are appearing, maybe 4 appearing in your value, right? A value ad that people, because that's what they're looking for. That's on the buyer side, right? Finding the right home to purchase, type of negotiations. Terms and price, right? Buyers found their agent, 43 referrals, right? And then 15% use the agent previously. So definitely either build your sphere or you gotta keep in touch with your sphere in past lines, because that's the majority. That's how they go and find their agent. 74, 7 out of 10 only spoke to one agent. Right. That's why if you're not doing open houses, you're missing out a big opportunity. Right. Any open house, because they come to you and they're gonna meet you one time, assuming they don't have an agent.
Right.
So those are big percentages. You have to be out there in front of them. Right. Sellers, same thing like buyers. Majority referral or use their past agent, over 50% in combination. But those are big numbers. And 80% of the sellers interviewed only one agent, right? So it really takes one time face to face, and you're 80% guaranteed to get, unless you did something horrible, to get that client. 80%, those are big numbers. This is priceless too. What sellers want from their agent. So, by the way, if this is not in your bio, so again, I would do that, take a screenshot, and then put the link of my LinkedIn, or any other place you have your bio, those should be the same, right? And ask ChatGPT, can you correct my bio accordingly with the top 3 or 4 items over here, right?
You're gonna give us that though.
Incentive over here. Most important factors for sellers. So if this is not part of your bio and your resume, that's what they are looking for today, right? Make sure those keywords are being added to your stuff. When you do a post, even just a picture on Instagram, whatever, hashtag honesty, hashtag reputation, hashtag something. I don't know. Just figure out. Again, you can ask Chat; she'll tell you exactly how to adjust it. But those are key items that I always encourage to use. Method use, agents, and that's all I have.
That was great. Great stuff. By the way, that was like a 2.5-hour presentation that Gary did, right? It was like a couple hours.
Yeah.
So all in about 20 minutes.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for putting.
And again, we're gonna send it out to you guys in email. I encourage you guys, great social media content. I don't know if you guys seen it. I've done a couple reels on this where I just pop up the graph right next to me, next to my head. I point at it, and educate your people, especially the ones talking about interest rates, talking about inventory, all that stuff is good. All right, let's talk about new listings. John, tell us about this one, 3.45 million.
It's amazing. If you guys haven't been yet. It's got the coolest backyard in Palos Verdes. They just spent like $700,000 for the backyard. It's got a jacuzzi and a fire pit, an outdoor kitchen. It's got it all. We're going brokers for every day, so come by and take a look.
All right.
Big
Yeah.
ocean views too. Catalina ocean views.
It has a pool, right?
No pool.
Oh.
Did you sell that house before?
No.
It looks familiar.
Check that out today, guys. Broker tour today.
Wish I did.
So this fits. No, you have some.
Raven's got a lease on Artesia Boulevard, 3250. So reach out to Raven on that. Stephen and Betty got one on Seamount Drive, 2.28 million. Betty or so Stephen, they're both here. You guys gonna tell us a little bit about this one?
Yeah, we put this house on the market last week and we did open house over the weekend. We have over 150 people show up. It's a great property. And 75 to 80 people each day. And we have to see re-offer all of them over the asking price. We still are doing the broker open house today. Please stop and take a look at it.
All right, congrats. Yeah, awesome.
Unbelievable.
Question for Steven. What did you do to get that many people?
Because of the house, not because of me.
No magic you can go.
Yeah,
that's
right.
That's right.
Yeah, price. Home is great, priced really well, great combination, and Steven's got a handsome face. And Betty's got a beautiful face.
What's the ladder?
Yeah, what can you say? Alicia's got one too, 653 Beach with EE Street. Plot of land, $30,000. So reach out to Alicia for that. Karen, 1.5 million on Barbara Street in San Pedro. Karen, tell us a little bit about this one.
Oh, that's a pretty spectacular house. It's one of a kind. It's on a corner that, the location, it's all about the location, but it's kind of like you're living in the mountains at the beach. It's a big house, looks like it came from Tahoe, out of Tahoe. Lots of nice outdoor living areas, unobstructable view, nice 1970s groovy hip boho vibe that everybody loves. Had a lot of traffic through the open house, a lot of it curiosity, but but it's a great house and location that can't be beat. So, and you can walk right down to if you surf, you can walk right down to the surf break from right across the street.
Wow, that looks great. Looks great. So David's got this listing in RPV 830. Wow, it looks nice for 839.
Release.
Oh,
It's for lease, it's not that nice. It's
that's an expensive lease. I think that's what I just said.
It's
Terrible. This is terrible. I'm just kidding. Well, we'll figure that out. All right. Ella's got one 1.2 million in Rolling Hills Estates, 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath, and it's a fireplace. There's probably more to that fireplace. All right. Young Lee's got a lease in Torrance, $2,000 on 218th Street, and closings. Sandra closed on San Pedro. A lot of you guys know that community, 685. So congrats to Sandra. Let's give her a hand. One, at least, oh yeah, this was the one that was up. Yeah, of course, it went pretty quickly right away. Dual agent. So congrats on that one. At least just goes real there. Wendy and Rachel closed in San Pedro for 430. Dual agents, great job. Lee closed dual agent, Arbor City on the lease, so great job, Lee. Michelle closed 1.7 million in San Pedro, great job. Yeah,
The boy that.
that's a great, yeah, that was a cool listing too.
That's a good trial.
Lloyd, he closed his first, this is his first escrow, joined us not too long ago, rolling Hills Estate 1.15 with Promenade Escrow, which was us. Great job, Lloyd. And Steven closed with Promenade Escrow for 665 in Torrance, so congrats, Steven. Lee and Karen closed the lease for 4,500. Great job. And with Daniel as well, in-house, awesome. Rosino and Daniel closed the lease, the dual H's in Gardena. Congrats. My voice is really low. With the sales one, 4.79 over the last 7 days. Do a great job, guys. All right, I'm gonna skip through these and ones, but Alicia, come on up.
Hey everyone, how are you?
Oh, you don't need, okay, so go ahead. She's got an important announcement.
Really quick, because we've been talking about FinCEN so much over the past couple weeks, and if you have not heard, it is now suspended and paused for the time being. The reason I wanted to make sure you know about this is because at any given moment, it could resume. It has not gone away. It's not a permanent decision. It's just on hold right now. And that's important because if you're in a transaction right now and you're like, oh, FinCEN, we don't need to worry about that. But if it resumes tomorrow and you're closing after tomorrow, now it's still going to be an issue for your file. My suggestion, my recommendation, and with my peers and legal counsel, we are still proceeding to gather and get FinCEN approval on any file that would require it should this rule resume tomorrow. So if you're an escrow out there somewhere else with one of your buyers, I would suggest pressing for that with your escrow officer. If you have any trouble or need some verbiage, come see me, we'll talk it through. So just don't want you guys to end up in a time crunch and having an issue when it comes time to close.
Awesome, thank you. And Dustin, come on, let's give Dustin a hand. He's got some work for us. Good morning, you guys.
I do have a couple of slides. So in January, I shared with you guys the theme for me in 2026 is promise and pressure for the industry, right? And so sometimes we've got some great celebrations and some great feats, but then other times there's, things that happen like we invade Iran, right? And so I think that the market, as far as updates are concerned, over the last 2 to 3 weeks has been very volatile. It's on a day over day or a week over week basis. You just don't know. Is oil going to be over $100 a barrel? Is it going to be 120? Is it going to be 85? It's all moved up and down, and so have interest rates. And so what I wanted to share with you guys is when we have people in escrow, we're looking at what's happening with the bond market. So there's lots of colors here. It's not Christmas, I promise, but what we're looking at is the 10-year bond. Why do we care about the 10-year bond? It's because the average person holds on to a 30-year fixed mortgage for how long, you guys? 7 to 10 years, right? So in 7 to 10 years, the bond market right now is a 4.3. You tack on 2% like we talked about earlier for your average 30-year fixed interest rate on a mortgage. What are we talking about? 6.25 to 6.375%. Over the last 10 days, we've issued 6 different log points. So when we are in escrow with your clients, we're advising them on what's happening in the market. Do we want to float to see if we can get a decrease in interest rate, or do we want to lock to remove yourself from the volatility of rates continuing to go up? So it's very clear to see that interest rates have gone up. The reason why this arrow is showing here is because I put this on as the close of business yesterday. We are seeing a pullback with the increases. I think that it's stalling. And what's really going to dictate what's happening there is what happens up until the 6th of this month, where we have 2,000 Marines that were deployed and arrived in Iran and Friday, was last Friday. They haven't gotten off the ship yet. They're still there though. We also have another armada that is heading out there as far as a bunch of new ships for the United States. And then we have 1,500 paratroopers that can drop into Iran, and it's all at the command of the President of the United States. And so there's a lot of pressure about, is there a deal? Is there no deal? Right? One of my favorite quotes besides Mark Twain is just, your action speaks so loudly, I can't hear what you say. So there's negotiations that are happening. It looks like it's going to be peaceful. However, we're sending a whole lot more military that direction. President Trump only has 31 more days before he's going to need Congress approval to continue what he's doing in Iran. Whether or not we're for or against it, that's not the point of this conversation. The point that I want to make to you guys is that, do we have any control over what's happening over there right now? No. What do? We do real estate. And so I thought that this is really important, because I'm hearing a lot of agents talking about how rates have gone up by 0.25%, 0.3%. Maybe I want to wait, want to stall. The markets are always going to be unpredictable. We do know a trend, right? As Meny was just sharing, where we anticipate interest rates to go at the end of the year is about 5.875%. But with real estate changes, you don't want to miss out. And I think that people always make the mistake about timing the market. You can't time the market. Rather, it's how much time we spend in the market, right? And so my theory is that if you can get approved for the payment and you can be in the house for 3 years, you cannot lose. And I will share why in just a moment. Circumstances matter more than anything else. So, with what's happening in Iran and interest rates going up by 0.25%, is that more important than having a baby, going through a divorce, getting a job transfer? You're not going to stall making those moves, right? And so we just need to help clients stay tethered to those things. And homes don't wait. The right property is not going to stay on the market forever, as Stephen and Betty just showed by example with their listing that they have. What we're looking at right here is the rent versus buy analysis. You guys are not going to concentrate on these numbers. What it's meant to do is allow me the space to share with you guys about, Gen Z, when they say that the mortgage payment is going to be more expensive than what they're paying in rent, so they automatically just throw it right out the window on why they would want to buy a house. What this is looking at is someone purchasing a house in Los Angeles County for $1.1 million, putting 10% down. And if they were to purchase this house at 10% down, the cash flow difference is $70,000, meaning that over the span of 7 years, this person's going to pay $70,000 more for the purchase of a house than they would if they were just to continue renting. So it's pretty obvious to all of us in here that we should just continue renting, right? If we just use that metrics by itself, right? But what we're not taking into consideration is the appreciation gain. So this is specific to the zip code of 90230, which is Culver City. And the expected appreciation over an average of 7 years is 5.3%. So there's $480,000. How much money are we paying down on our own mortgage balance as opposed to someone else's during that period is $103,000. And then finally, the tax write-offs. You guys, so many people that are renting do not understand that when you are a W-2 wage earner, you are just getting raked over the coals with taxes. When you own a home now for 2025 tax year, you are not capped at $10,000 for property taxes. It's $40,000. That is thanks to the big, beautiful bill. Whether you like that or not, I'm sure everyone likes to hear that they're going to get more of a refund. So in the end, if we held on to this house for 3 years, we would have $135,000 in added wealth. All the way through to year 9, at year 7 is how long this person said that they might stay in the house, they would have $496,000 in added wealth. And this does include how much of the closing costs are buying the house and how much is going to cost to sell the house at 4% in 7 years. Yeah, I know. Should be 5, right?
Yeah.
Right. But anyway,
I blended it, so.
right, exactly. So look, this is just meant not to change someone's mind, right? But to speak to the background listening and help them to make informed decisions that they can be financially confident in. And that's what we do with your clients. This is just loan comparisons and the cost of waiting analysis. If we were, to say that we want to wait and see what happens, you guys always heard my response to that. When we say we want to wait and see what happens, what are we really saying as a client? I'm scared and I don't know what's going to happen. So us leading them in this room as a leader to help them make informed decisions is what we want to do. If we were to wait to buy a house, it would cost us $63,000 in added wealth. All the way up to year 3 is $280,000. So pre-qualified, pre-approved, I'm going to wrap up. I just want you guys to know something. One of our highly valued accomplishments with my team at Home Financing is we have 100% close ratio on every pre-approval letter that we've ever issued. That's a really big deal. And why is that? Is because when we have an initial consult with your clients, we're not just pre-qualifying them, we're taking it all the way to the finish line where all we need is collateral to attach to. And I can't tell you how many times that's really made or broke, made or what am I gonna say that? Make or break. How easy is that? Make or break a listing agent to potentially accept your offer over others. We had one last week where a listing agent was gonna accept an offer from a competitor because they were putting down 70%. Our clients were only putting down 20%. So they thought that because they were putting down 70%, that's a much better deal. I spoke with the listing agent, let them know our clients have multi-million dollars in the bank. They just don't want to jail it in the form of equity in a property. Their debt ratio is 23%. Why don't you ask the debt ratio of the person who's putting down 80% or 70%? He's like, oh, I didn't think about that. They accepted the offer. So I want to make sure you guys know that when we're working with your clients, it's not just about helping them move through the market and make good decisions, but also guiding and working with you as a team all the way through and getting their offer accepted and closing. So we're over time.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, let me just real quick. Good Friday, our office is closed this Friday. Keep that in mind. A lot of these events, classes, you're going to get that through your daily emails. New listing e-blast system is going to be awesome. It's going to come soon. We finished up our 30 for 30 today, but I'm going to keep going. So if you guys need help with posting reels, let me know. And thank you guys for joining. And so you guys have a good tour. Real quick before you guys go, hold on real quick. You gotta do it. Let's take a quick selfie, quick picture. Everyone. All right. Say that to the camera. 1, 2, 3. All right. Thanks guys for joining. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Thursday. No, never mind. We'll talk about it.
It's okay.